This is Amtica, the Golden City. Or at least, it was the Golden City. The city was once the mystical, must-see, one-stop-shop location for any self-respecting wanderer like myself, but it's just not the same anymore. He's talking to himself again. Shh. Don't make eye contact with him. Well, I guess I'm not really one to complain. After all, I mean, this is basically all my fault. Well, follow me. It'll be easier to explain things back at the ship. Old brother, are you awake?
Yes, progenitor, I am.
Good. And how's the system repair process coming along?
All physical backup drives, ports, and CPU input devices are at 95% restoration. Time remaining until all systems are repaired to full optimal states. I calculated 21 days, 4 hours, and 38 seconds.
Easy, buddy. Take it easy now.
Yes, progenitor.
Oh, right. You're probably wondering a number of things right about now, like, why are you effectively marooned next to a Mesoamerican-esque city? What happened to your AI clone self to even need a full system restoration? Or perhaps even, the fuck is Amtica and why am I watching this video in the first place? The very question I really should ask myself more often before making these types of videos. Well, you see, I recently finished up a Let's Play series of Shiren the Wanderer, and in case you haven't seen the episode finale part 2, which I encourage you to go watch at some point or another, here's a brief recap. After reaching the Plains of the Sun, following a treacherous climb through a mystery dungeon full of bloodthirsty monsters, we came across the ruins of the mythical city of El Dorado, Amtica. Finding that it was not only devoid of its people, but also its gold, it soon became clear that a catastrophe had befallen the city, thanks to some anonymous resident who took liberty of writing down the events that had transpired. As it turns out, Allbrother, who I had carefully snuck away from to go on this Let's Play journey, had at some point suffered a major system malfunction of sorts, after attempting to, with a lookalike I had hired to minimize suspicion of my absence. This malfunction resulted in Allbrother going on a horrific fit of destroying all the robot creatures on board and repurposing their mangled corpses into a terrifying, becoming a tainted insectoid. Yes, it was Allbrother who ransacked Amtica, devouring its gold, destroying twice as far fast and defeating the city's guardian, the Golden Condor. Which brings us back to my part of the story. After an intense battle between my blood machine brother and my Allbrother, or rather, Both lay in defeat, the Golden Condor was set free. Golden Condor was capable of granting wishes for those brave few fortunate enough to meet it. Which brings us to the very reason I set out on this journey in the first place. So, this legendary bird can grant wishes?
Yes, child. You and your companion
Have proved yourselves worthy beyond reasonable doubt. Now, what is it that your heart desires? Well, truth be told, there is one wish I was hoping you would grant. The very reason I actually set out on this quest in the first place, but...
Oh, pray tell, what would your wish be then?
Exactly. I wanted to wish for a second chance, you see. There's someone I've kept close to my heart now for the past decade, and someone I still think of frequently. Someone I really screwed up any semblance of even remaining friends with long ago. Is grand, but it wouldn't be right. This isn't something I can just magically wish better. If I did, then I'd be no better of a person than I was all those years ago, and...
Very well.
I shall respect your reservations, Guardian. And which brings us back to today. Allbrother has been undergoing a rapidly steady process of repairing and rebuilding, retuning, and all that, thanks to my wanderer companion's wish to the Condor. Amtica's indigenous residents have returned to their homes, quickly adjusting back to their regular, everyday routine. And, well, my wanderer But I'm sure we'll see him again real soon. And then there's me, still hanging on to a dead hope, clinging to a past that I just can't shake.
You have one new message from back.
Wait, from who?
Her.
I believe in the world once in front of me, and now here on these empty streets, with curtains, these memories of a man, all he's lost. No time to think about it, no room to breathe. But if I had a way back, I'd ride through the dark and the dawn. Jerub, he's doing it again.
Just don't make eye contact.
What seems to be all the fuss around here?
It's him again.
I'll go see what I can do. These outsiders are going to be a real pain in the neck. Okay, mister. What's the deal this time?
I'll tell you. I'm free. I'm finally free. After 10 long years, I'm finally free.
Of course you are, bud. Listen, would you mind keeping it down?
Free! Free of this guilt, of this sorrow and heartbreak. Free from it all. And do you know why?
Why?
I've been forgiven. I've been forgiven. Oh, praise the Spode, I've been forgiven.
Great, I'm proud of you. I guess the Condor really did grant your wish after all, but
would you mind? The Condor, that's it. Oh my God, the Condor is wonderful. I gotta make it up to him. You there?
Huh? What, me?
Yes, you. Tell you what, how about I grant you any wish your heart desires, and I'll do whatever I can within my power to grant it. Now tell me, what is it that you desire most?
Replenish the gold that was plundered from our city. That is our wish. And that's their wish, so if you could just return the gold that you...
Progenitor, I do not possess any backup memory cores regarding to what, where, or when I committed such actions. Furthermore, if what you have told me is correct, that I had plundered, consumed, and destroyed any and all gold present in Amtica at that time, it is with approximate 97.98 certainty that such gold has been processed and broken down beyond any reasonable value.
So, in other words?
In layman's terms, I ain't got no more gold.
Then what do you have exactly?
Initiating quick scan. Scan complete. Approximately 110 galactic standard kilopounds of mercury, 352 galactic standard kilopounds of lead, and 26 galactic standard kilopounds of thallium.
Lead. Mercury. I wonder.
Perhaps strip mining the nearby rock formation would yield a sufficient...
I got it. We'll make a Philosopher's Stone. Hey, what'd I miss? We're one and the same. Raptor in here. Go and give this a push, and then we'll start. Warning. The following may contain material considered inappropriate for children ages 12 and under. Copyright claimed material may also be present. Proceed with caution. Viewer discretion is advised. The Philosopher's Stone, a mystical substance, for hundreds of years, had been the highly sought-after end goal of many an alchemist's extensive research and experimentation. However, try as they may, none of their efforts had yielded any credible results. Furthermore, progenitor, it would seem that the Philosopher's Stone itself is rooted in the study of alchemy, an archaic, obsolete, and fundamentally disjointed field of study, shrouded in mysticism and... Now hold on there. You're making alchemy sound like some kind of black magic witchcraft type of practice, when in reality it actually helped lay the foundation for our modern principles of modern science. However true that may be, it still doesn't change the fact that the Philosopher's Stone, in and of itself, remains neither here nor there. And however true that may be, that still doesn't change the fact that I am a progenitor, a member of a race of an ancient order, known for their technological prowess across the cosmos. Surely, with our highly advanced, spacefaring technological marvels, mastery of genetic manipulation, and artificial intelligence superbots, something as crude and archaic as the Philosopher's Stone should be a breeze to create. So in any case, we should... Allbrother?
Human.
Allbrother? Or chances are, it's just something hardwired into our human brains.
Human.
I'm a human being. I go to church.
Human.
Allbrother. Hey. As humans, we... Hey. You listening? Allbrother. Hey. You listen to me? Well, I guess I shouldn't get too worked up, seeing as you're not quite restored 100% in the hall. We'll just get going on our episode's focal point, so follow me to the kitchen. This'll do it. Alright now. Where do we even begin?
Well, for starters, progenitor, perhaps it is best that you familiarize yourself with...
Oh god. Allbrother, is that you?
This is a mobile, short-term, advanced, venturing artificial transportation adapter reconometer, or AVATAR for short. With it, I can more readily monitor whatever tasks you are performing at a more ground-level basis.
Okay then, So anyways, yeah, you're right. Let's establish what is the Philosopher's Stone? What are its alleged properties? What does it look like? How is one made? And who is alleged to have made one in the past? Take it away, Allbrother.
Certainly. The Philosopher's Stone is a mystical substance believed by many alchemists to have the ability to turn base metals, such as mercury and lead, into rare, precious metals such as gold and silver. Alchemy, the field of study whose large, overlying end goal is to produce the Philosopher's Stone, is a branch of philosophical and natural study of an ancient order, practiced by various cultures of the ancient world, with each holding their own underlying principles, typically overlapping with their respective religious or spiritual beliefs. While the ability to transmutate base metals into gold and silver is one of the Philosopher's Stone's better-known uses, there are numerous other alleged capabilities this mythical substance can help one achieve. Some of these abilities are, but not limited to, the revival of dead plants, the ability to cure any and all diseases or ailments when mixed with wine and drunken, prolonged indefinite lifespan, the creation of the homunculus, perpetual burning lamps or torches, and the creation of a universal solvent, able to dissolve anything when mixed with water.
Wait, but then how would one even be able to contain such a liquid able to dissolve anything and everything? Wouldn't it just melt through the beaker or flask it's contained in?
Progenitor. Such alleged property is an irrelevant point in this matter, even if this mystical substance were to be used to create a universal solvent. The likelihood of it betraying the other previously mentioned properties becomes improbable, else impossible, at an exponential rate with each passing trait.
So let's move on to our next step. What does the Philosopher's Stone even look like?
While its exact appearance varies, it is generally regarded to be a red, semi-transparent rock whose innermost core bearing a deep crimson-red coloration, fading outwards to a saffron color at its outermost layers. Furthermore, it would seem that the Philosopher's Stone comes in two varieties: the previously mentioned red variant and a less matured white variant. These two variants, while allegedly identical in regards to their improbable abilities, do differ in one aspect. The matured red Philosopher's Stone is alleged to create gold, while the white, unmatured Philosopher's Stone is said to be used to create silver.
Excellent, Allbrother. Now I know which kind we're going to be making today. Since we want gold, we need the red one. Where do we even begin?
The process of creating a Philosopher's Stone is known as the magnum opus. Latin translation, the great work.
Thanks for the info, Allbrother. And we have our first recipe from Michelle Mayer's Atlanta Fugians. Allbrother will read it out loud while I do the great work.
Make of a man and a woman a circle,
What?
then a quadrangle.
Allbrother.
Out of this, a triangle.
You can stop now.
Make again a circle,
Stop. Just stop already.
and you will have the stone of the wise.
I get it. Let's just move.
Thus is made the stone, which thou canst not discover unless you, through diligence, learn to understand this geometrical teaching.
So, first make a man. Alright, and then a woman.
progenitor. This recipe calls for a man.
Yes, and
Behold, a man. That is a bird.
that is a featherless biped.
You are a featherless biped, progenitor.
Oh, true? In that case... Okay, and then next step calls for a woman. Okay, and then make a circle. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not. I can't.
Shall we move on, progenitor?
Yeah, probably ought to.
Progenitor. It would appear that there is a recipe that shouldn't conflict with your moral rationale.
Sweet, bring it up.
This recipe derives from the Hermetic tradition, namely from a particular alchemist known as Mary the Jewess.
Mary the Jewess. I feel like I've read about her before somewhere.
Mary the Jewess, or Mary the Prophetess, is an alleged alchemist, believed to have lived between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD. She is regarded as being one of the first alchemists known to have allegedly successfully created a Philosopher's Stone, let alone considered to be among the first alchemists in recorded history. In addition to her supposed Hermetic contributions, Mary the Jewess is also credited for inventing early versions of various chemical apparatus, some still found in modern laboratories and kitchens in the present time.
Was she the one that invented the double boiler then?
While her namesake is preserved to this day with the apparatus, it is unlikely that she herself was the one to be credited for its invention, as similar tools had been devised centuries earlier.
Fair enough. Okay, what's first?
Our first step is to obtain prima materia.
What's that?
Prima materia is an alleged primal element, one believed to have the properties of all other elements, as it was alleged that from it all other elements emerged. However, before continuing on, it is important to understand which elements were believed to have derived from it: air, water, fire, and soil, as well as their respective domains.
So, how exactly do we...
Progenitor. It must be stressed that the traditional 4 elements differ in definition from our modern scientific definition of element, such as what is listed on a periodic table.
Then surely there's something we...
There is nothing else that can be attained from this
Okay, just take it easy now. Let's just call it a night. Prima materia. Primal element that all other elements derived from. Let's see. Prima materia sounds actually quite similar to the ancient Greek philosophical idea of pile. Pile is... Oh, yes, that's right. Pile is the raw material in and of itself. Pile. Ilum? Why does that word ring a bell? Ilum. What was that? What? Oh, Jesus. All that.
Sensors indicate you have awoken abruptly from your sleep. Is there something the matter, progenitor?
It felt like I just watched how the universe began, form, from... That's it. I found my prima materia. Good morning, Allbrother. Are you awake?
I'm always awake. What do you require of me?
I figured out how we can get some prima materia.
Progenitor. As I had previously stated approximately 15 hours, 36 minutes, and 27 seconds ago, the concept of prima materia is rooted in an obsolete definition of the word element, and thereby does not have a modern scientific analog.
Hoo-hoo! And that is where you are wrong, and I'll prove it to you. Now, ready the chronovision.
Yes, progenitor. Please specify the time and location you wish to see.
Set it back to the beginning, to the start of it all. This is Amtika, the Golden City. Or at least, it was the Golden City. The city was once... Wait, no, not the start of this video. The start of everything. Okay, it's fine. It's my fault for not being more specific. Right. Okay. Set the time to the start of the universe. The Big Bang.
Playback complete.
Play it in reverse and reduce playback speed to 10%. There, pause it right there, at that last frame. Now, Allbrother, tell me what exactly is that single white pixel there?
An artifact created by the low-quality strain reception of the...
Wrong! What you are seeing is, in fact, our primal material. Now, set the chronovision back even further.
Error. Invalid parameters inputted.
Of course. Okay, I guess we're just going to need to use our imaginations for this one. The universe is unfathomably huge, growing ever outward as we speak. It is comprised of matter, particles that make up bigger particles, and so on, infused with energy, bound and repelled by the weak and strong electromagnetic forces, and the weak and strong gravitational forces. But imagine, if you will, a universe where everything, all forms of matter, leptonic and baryonic, their antimatter equivalents, dark matter, exotic matter, all energies, as well as the electromagnetic and gravitational forces, were all together in a unified, indivisible state, or singularity. Or in other words, everything was one. This is the universe before the universe. Hyperdense, plasma-esque, hot, really hot. The current laws of physics have no meaning in this state. This is the primal matter. This is Ilum. Don't you see, Allbrother? This is the substance, the element from which all other substances and elements derive from. If we can get our hands on some Ilum, I'm certain we can...
And where are you going to obtain such a material? Time travel is out of the question, as aside from lacking sufficient material to build one, the ramifications caused by the sampling of this primordial state of matter would be so unfathomably disruptive that the possibility of creating a temporal paradox leading to your very existence's erasure is...
I get it. No, rather than rely on time to obtain this primordial singularity, we're going to rely on space.
Interstellar Warp Drive version 7.8 restoration 100%. Radiation shields restoration 100%. Interspecies.
We're going to be taking a slight detour on our quest to create a Philosopher's Stone, mainly in thematic context, for you see,
restoration sequence complete. All systems on board Starship Allbrother version 1-2B are restored to adequate interstellar travel requisites.
Great, that's wonderful. Well, I should probably inform the Amtakaya of our errand trip. Don't worry, we'll be back in no time. And when we do, I promise, I'll have your gold and then some. Take care on your journey, young one. I hope they don't return to this place. We've caused enough trouble and grief as it is. Now with that out of the way, let's take a step backwards here. Ilum is a primordial state known as a singularity, and while Ilum itself is no longer present, there exist other knowable bodies in space that are also singularities. Black holes. Yep, that's right, we're going to visit a black hole. Now, there are plenty of knowable black holes we could visit and possibly utilize in our Ilum synthesizing, such as the supermassive black hole M87 at the center of the Messier 87 galaxy. However, aside from being in, well, an entirely different galaxy to our own, there's also a number of that I don't want my avatar drawn with. Then there is the supermassive black hole at the center of our Milky Way galaxy, aka the galactic core, which unfortunately...
Incoming transmission from the Grox.
There's one opening for rifle.
excuse me, pardon the intrusion here. We're just on our way to see the galactic core, so if you could so very kindly just let us through and...
No. I'll give you to the count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9.
Warning, damage to sector quarters 1-4C. Progenitor.
Shit, we're out of here, now! Yeah, so that's a no-go. But where we're going is possibly the most controlled, well-studied, and observed black hole in the entire galaxy. Wanakto! I said, Wanakto! Oh, for sake. Am I the only one who played Darkspawn around here? My bad. I guess I should rephrase that. Our actual destination is, in fact, a planetary mega space station. The one, the only, Zellum's Nexus. Zellum's Nexus. This is Zellum's Nexus. Situated at the edge of a black hole, this is a ring world, with floating islands connected by a series of energy bridges and teleporters. These islands used to be the planet Nocto, before said planet was torn apart. For a while, this place was a stronghold for the Darkspore Horde. But ever since the progenitors reclaimed it and eradicated the hostile alien mutant zombie monsters, things have pretty well settled down. Now it's known for its tourist industry, technological innovations and marvels, and space barracudas. Which brings us to our space port city of Porta Proton, located towards the top inner ring of Zellum's Nexus.
How can I help you?
Oh, hi, I'm Derple-Me, and this is my brother, All-Brother.
Greetings, I am All-Brother, his AI half-self.
We're here to make a Philosopher's Stone.
I feel like there's a Full Metal Alchemist reference in here somewhere.
Can I get about 27 kilopounds of exotic matter?
Fine.
Progenitor, may I inquire for what purpose we're here at this Zellum's Nexus Spaceport Marketplace?
Patience, All-Brother, patience.
Here's your order.
Oh, thank you.
That'll be 800 spore bucks.
Put it on my tab.
We don't have one.
Well, can you make one for me?
No.
Progenitor, I will handle this transaction.
Right then, I'm gonna head over to the next shop over. And so we gathered our ingredients for our Ilum transyntheficationing. And more. Psst. Hey you, with the hat and the droid butler. Come here. Yes? You're not planning to hike to the Wanakto Space Launchatorium, are you? Why, yes I am. You're going to run into some dangerous critters along the way without one of these little fellas accompanying you. You see this? This is a space beam, the latest and greatest breed, carefully and lovingly bred to act as an all-natural space barracuda deterrent.
Progenitor. Systems indicate that alleged space beam is merely a regular beam. Painted over to...
I'll take it. Oh no, sir, I couldn't. This is a space bean rental shop after all. Okay, what are your rates then? Tell you what, I'll get you a deal here. How's $500 an hour sound?
Progenitor. The flow of time is an inconsistent variable in many locations around Zelm's Nexus.
Deal. Hey, nice doing business with you, pal. I'll charge you once you return the little guy, but be careful. Get any ideas of stealing them? Poor thing will explode. Okie dokie then. See you later. Thank you. Come again. Oh, there's suckers born every minute. And we're here, folks. The Wanakto Space Launchatorium. It's here we will launch a highly specialized capsule into the black hole Wanakto in order to merge everything in this capsule into a state of singularity that will be our Ilum.
How? How will any of that work? Logistically speaking, there is no correlation between...
Shush. I'm not done talking yet, brother. Let me explain. Starting with our capsule. This capsule, what I'll refer to as the Polymateria Pod, or PMP, is a carefully crafted capsule whose compartments are comprised of different types of matter. Regular matter, such as quarks, leptons, bosons, etc. Their antimatter counterparticles, dark matter, and exotic matter. The PMP is also equipped with a modified version of the Wormhole Key, a wonderful tool that allows spacefaring races to enter black holes safely as a natural wormhole to another place in space-time. And I just so happened to set the Ilum bearing white hole to open up right in our ship's cargo hold, thus giving us the transsynthesized Ilum.
Understood. Remote cargo hold inventory management system activated. Progenitor. Are you certain this will work?
You won't know until we try. Okay, we'll put this down right here, and...
Failure. Unable to transsynthesize Ilum.
No, god damn it! Bean! No! What have I done? But...
Success. Ilum transsynthification complete.
Huh? The fuck are these things made of? Anyways, I guess it's time to head back. You say something? No, guess not.
Sensors indicate an unknown presence in the vicinity. Exact location cannot be determined.
NANI?!
Well, that was one memorable road trip errand. I guess it's time to head back to planet whatever world Shiren the Wanderer takes place on.
Due to a lack of a wormhole key, the return trip will take a considerable amount of time longer. Estimated time until arrival, approximately 5 minutes.
Fair enough. I guess in that time we could take a look back at the past and see who else had purportedly created/discovered a Philosopher's Stone before us. As mentioned earlier in the video, Mary the Jewess was one of, if not the first alchemists of recorded history. Not only was she credited for the invention, or at least innovation, of numerous equipment and devices, many of which still used to this day in our modern chemistry labs and kitchens, but also giving the first written account on the process of making a Philosopher's Stone. Problem is, none of those said writings have survived. In fact, for what it's worth, most everything credited as her doing, or even existence in general, is just referenced in a number of Hermetic writings. So in other words, it'd be like if I just got all my information from Wikipedia and didn't bother checking the citations at the bottom of the page, well, glossing over the citation needed, at the corner of certain quote-unquote facts. Kind of like what I've been doing this whole time. Alright, now here's a juicy one. James Price, an 18th century chemist, had allegedly created a powder mixture that could transmutate base metals into precious metals, like, gold and silver, by mixing potassium nitrate, borax, and a secret red or white powder that, of course, only he knew how to make, with an amount of mercury equal to 50 times the weight of the secret production powder in a ceramic pot stirred by an iron rod. And it worked, I guess? Wait, what? Or did it? Because despite showcasing it to a live audience, when asked to demonstrate in front of members of the Fellows of the Royal Society, who are, by the way, a very prestigious, highly regarded league of scientists, mathematicians, and academics. Some notable members include, but are not limited to, Stephen Hawking, David Attenborough, and Sir Isaac Newton, who is actually also an alchemist, by the way. Anyways, when pressed to do a presentation in front of the Fellows of the Royal Society, what did James Price say?
Do I have to? I'd rather not if I can help it. Well, you see, I'm kinda out of my
secret production powder,
and it takes a toll on my health just to make more.
And
look, man, I'm not about to cause any more inflation on the price of gold. Plus, I'm losing money here. I mean, it costs 17 pounds to make a 4 pounds worth of gold. Just give me a break already.
Very sus. And, well, I think that alone is arguably enough to discredit him altogether. And last but not least is Nicolas Flamel was a wealthy French scribe who lived from the 14th to 15th centuries, going from your average scribe and manuscript seller to having enough money to own several properties, along with living to a ripe old age of 87 or 88 years old. Bear in mind this was 1418 when he passed. Gave many folks the speculation of, well, how did he do it? How did he live for so long and get so wealthy? Long after his death. In the alchemical text, the Ver des Figures Hieroglyphs, or as it would be translated and published later as the Exposition of Hieroglyphical Figures, it was alleged by the book's publisher that this work was commissioned by none other than the late Nicolas Flamel, and that he had made it his life's work to decipher another text, the Book of Abramelin, which the Book of Abramelin itself is more of a spell book of an Egyptian maze than anything actually related to alchemy, but that's beside the point. And with the help of a Spanish sage and blah blah blah. You get the idea. It wasn't written as a biography, but merely as a name grab, probably to help it sell. It'd be like if I wrote some weird sci-fi fantasy bestiary work with Henry Ford as the alleged commissioner. Also, I'm pretty sure Flamel's wealth spike came from his marriage to Perenelle Flamel, another French scribe who had been previously married twice, both times to rich, wealthy husbands, which she brought some of that fortune with her into her marriage with Nicholas.
Sir, they're back.
I was hoping they wouldn't return. Men, come along. Thank you very much. You're all looking wonderful today. Okay, folks. Today we've got a recipe for you that I know all of you at home watching are going to love. That's right, the one, the only, Philosopher's Stone. First off, you're going to need to get some prima materia. Now, for those of you watching at home, this might be a bit tricky, but believe me when I say this, it's not as bad as they say when it comes to getting some. All you need to do is...
Hello, young traveler. I know you're a
Progenitor.
I hear ya.
We need to have a discussion
Security!
facing dire consequences.
Now, where was I? Oh, yes, of course. Start by taking your prima materia and apply... until blackened. This process is known as melanosis. Next, we'll add a... until our product turns white. This stage is known as leucosis. Then begin... at which time it should turn yellow. This stage is called xanthosis. Alright, almost done here, folks. Lastly, we're going to mix in a... Let it sit until it turns a deep reddish color in the final stage known as iosis. And voila! You have a Oh dear, that wasn't supposed to happen. I was so sure this was going to work, but...
Progenitor, have you come to accept your shortcoming at this time?
Is it even possible? Possible to begin with?
No. The creation of a Philosopher's Stone has never been attainable for a number of factors. Factors you have glossed over in a zealous state of mind. And now you are faced with the realization that there is nothing left to obtain by further pursuing this senseless endeavor. So, Progenitor, what action will you take next?
We don't need a Philosopher's Stone. There is still one way. I was hoping I wouldn't have to resort to... nuclear transmutation.
Accessing Nuclear Transmutation Process Database. Transmutation of base metals into rare, precious metals is a concept that has transcended the realm of alchemy into the fields of chemistry and nuclear physics. While the process of transmutation through a use of a Philosopher's Stone is, relatively speaking, a safe and fruitful venture, the same cannot be said about nuclear transmutation. As early as AD 1901, the idea has been dabbled with within the realms of physics, when Frederick Soddy and Ernest Rutherford realized that thorium was naturally transmutating itself into radium. Later experiments in the 20th century AD yielded further results, and a better understanding of what and how the process entails. By making use of radioactive decay, notably alpha decay, protons could be sheared off of an atom's nucleus, a manner of which that is similar to but distinct from nuclear fission. One notable experiment performed in 1980 by nuclear physics pioneer Glenn Theodore Seaborg resulted in the transmutation of the element bismuth into gold. By removing protons and neutrons from bismuth atoms, Seaborg had achieved the closest mankind has ever gotten to successfully creating a Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, see, now all we need to do is...
However, while Seaborg and colleagues were successful in synthesizing gold, the production cost of their experiment far outweighed the price of the transmutated gold. In other words, they were operating in a net loss.
I guess you could say it wasn't worth its weight in gold, huh?
Correct.
Well, shit.
Progenitor, why are you so dead set on the creation of gold? To further replenish the city of Amtica's now depleted treasures?
No, it's not the... Look, this is about me trying to repay the Golden Condor for granting my wish.
Archived footage reveals that the wish-granting bird of legend respected your reservations, and did not in fact grant your wish.
Yeah, well then how come back...
Progenitor, was it not you who reached out to her on her birthday, extending words of remorse, regret, and apology for every and all actions towards her that were, from a socially ethical and moral standard, unjust, discomforting, and generally unacceptable?
Well, yeah, but... Just what would you know? You're an AI, a computer.
I am not fully equipped to rationalize the concepts of reconciliation and forgiveness. However, limited capacities aside, what I do possess is your memories, and in particular, all memories allocated towards her. Every action, every breath, every sigh and scream.
Yeah, well...
Progenitor, you have been forgiven by her. However, you yourself haven't quite come to that same resolution.
Just... why? How are you even...
Because, Progenitor, we are one in the same.
I guess so. I...
In the world once in front of me, well now that's gone. If I had a way back at night through the dark and the dawn, because the man you love don't live anymore, I can't go home again. Bye, goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye, my dear. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you all liked this. It was a lot of fun to make and to find a way for it to all tie into our Shiren the Wanderer Let's Play series. Link to the playlist for that in the description down below. Check it out if you haven't already, and go do that. And, oh, quick reminder, if the finale episode part 2 gets 50 views, 50, and or even a single comment telling me something along the lines of, this is great, please do more, I will do a season 2 going through the post-game. Otherwise, as far as our next project is concerned, I guess it depends on when this video is even finished and uploaded, so there might be some more Grokstober, being Grokstober 2021, or perhaps a condensed Let's Play of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. Maybe. Probably we'll have some more Stephanie creative filler out sooner or later, if nothing else. There are some special episodes regarding the Stephanie in the future, though, I promise that. And thank you all for being patient with me. It's difficult, and just thank you in general. But other than that, thanks for checking this whole mess of a project out, and, well, I'll see you all later, I guess. Stay woke.